Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of the Torch Parsha Minute. Susan is sharing it already online. Amazing. Thank you for all of our viewers online, on Facebook, on YouTube, and hopefully very soon also on JewishPodcast.org. Perfect. On iTunes, that's correct. So thank you all for joining us. So in this week's Parsha, Parshas Yisro, we see how Yisro gave a piece of sound advice to Moses. Now it's very interesting, and many of you have asked just moments ago, at how is it that Moses accepted advice from his father-in-law, who was not a Jew, who's not necessarily a scholar, who's not, a member of the tribe, not, like some guy, some outsider comes and starts giving you advice of how you should manage your company. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Why should Moses even pay attention to what he has to say? So we know the Torah gives us many, many tools, specifically the Mishnah in Ethics of Our Fathers, Pirkei Avot, chapter 6, Mishnah 6, says the following. It gives us 48 different tools to maximizing life. And the first tool, anybody know the first tool that the Torah gives us to maximize life?
Torah.
Well, it's bit Talmud. Talmud means to learn. And our sages tell us, what does that mean to learn? To learn from everyone. You have to learn from everything, every experience that you see. Every person that you meet, find something that you can learn. It doesn't make a difference if they're superior to you or if they're supposed to be subordinate to you. It doesn't make a difference if they're older or younger. It doesn't make a difference if they're your competitor. You should find, if you're a person who wants to maximize life, someone who wants to maximize life does the following. Learns, is constantly learning new things. You learn about different trades, you learn about your competitor, you learn about, you gain as much knowledge and as much wisdom as you can. Because a person who wants to live life to the fullest wants to be as educated as possible, wants to learn as much as possible. And that's the first ingredient our sages tell us. If you want to maximize pleasure in life, be a learner. Be a person who's dedicated to always learning. Because the more you learn, the more you will enrich your life. And here we see that Moses was in a challenge. And sometimes you need to learn, not only because the person who's giving you that advice is more skilled and more knowledgeable in a specific area, but sometimes because you're just stuck in a specific world of thought, a world of and sometimes that doesn't allow you to think outside. You can't see the full picture. You sometimes have to zoom out, and you're not able to zoom out when you're inside it. You're clouded with other thoughts. Moses had clarity of thought, but there was still something he could learn. There's still something you can learn in that, management. The Talmud tells us that Chachma Bagoyim Ta'amin. Torah Bagoyim Al Ta'amin. Meaning, wisdom by non-Jews, they have tremendous wisdom. Torah they don't have. Torah they don't have. Wisdom they have, but Torah they don't have. Now, Torah teaches us sensitivity. Torah teaches us other things, and that's why, and it's based on truth, on emes. But wisdom, they're very capable, and they have. And we see they can build tremendous buildings, they have architecture, and they have science, and they have a lot of tremendous things, even though Jews are tremendous contributors to it, probably the biggest contributors to it. But that's not the issue. The issue is that we do find that the nations of the world have wisdom. And here is one specific instance of many where we find that someone who was not part of the Jewish people at that time, Yisro, was able to assist the Jewish people, of course, number one, by being people who want to learn, who want to grow, who want to change, who want to accept, right? Who want to become better. So we learn from everyone. And Moses took the advice from his father-in-law Yisro, or according to some opinion, his brother-in-law Yisro. He took that advice because he recognized that there's truth to it. He recognized there's wisdom to it. So instead of Moshe managing 3 million people, instead what he did was he appointed, leaders of the masses, leaders of the thousands, leaders of the hundreds. What he did was, he made an organizational chart. What we call it. He made an organizational chart where you have a CEO, and then you have the vice president, and you have all the different department heads. That's exactly what he did by having the leaders of the tribes. And then he had, under those leaders of the tribes, he had leaders of each leader having 1,000 people that he was in charge of, and below that the leaders of the hundreds. And that, like this, you were able to manage the entire people. Moses he was like the Supreme Court. The big cases came to Moses. So, but the idea, the underlying principle that we want to learn from this is that we can learn from everybody around us. Everybody who's around us, you can learn from. The colleague sitting next to you in your office, the janitor, and the chief executive officer. Everybody around you, you can learn from. You can learn from your children. You can learn from your parents. You can learn from your siblings, right? And you can learn from your housekeeper. There are things you can learn from everyone, but we need to be vessels that are capable and that are open to learning and accepting. And that's one of the great lessons we learned from Moses. He was not only a teacher, but he was in teacher in wisdom, but he was a teacher in how to learn from other people. And that's a very important skill that he teaches us. Learn from everyone. Right? Now, not everything everyone's going to share with you is going to be truthful, and not everything everyone's going to share with you is going to be worthwhile learning. There's plenty of junk out there that we don't need to learn. And that, again, we need to be the judges to decide, is this something of value or not? Okay? So with that, my friends on Facebook, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends. Like the video and share it. And when you go back home, share it as well. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to continue our regular Talmud class now.